All right, welcome everyone for the next workshop. How are we in energy? We're still good. It's a long day. But there's also good news. For today, we will close it up with a fantastic drinks and food reception right nearby. So looking forward to that one. And then we continue with all the learnings that we picked up today. Our next workshop is also in the packaging domain, but we already learned in some of the other workshops how important that can be. You know, customer experience, employee experience, connected into this is more than just the package, right? It's not only the hygiene factor; it's really important to make that to the next level. So, with our next speaker, Martin, he will lead us through a little bit about the Packsize philosophy behind this. And we run, obviously, as you know now, with the workshops, we run some interactivity. We would like to learn from you, where are the key levers for the future? So we have also some futuristic questions in what can be important for the next phase of your development. So how is packaging helping you to become more successful in your business? Packsize, how big is your company at the moment?
About 250 employees here in Europe, and the same a little bit more in the US.
Yeah.
So closing up to the $1 billion that we are aiming for. So on a good progress, we're growing about 30-40% year on year the last 11 years.
And there's a reason, if you compare it to some of the other companies, why we invited them. Fast-growing companies, they're doing something really well, and it's good to learn from that one as well. So we'd like to learn more about your journey. So Martin, floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Great honor and pleasure to be here in front of all of you. It's a long day. It's extremely funny to be here, and really want to make this an open discussion point forum where we can be open, honest, because one thing is for sure, packaging is not easy. There is not one solution that fits all. There is no such dream factory like Santa Claus. You put your stuff and everything works. That would be awesome, but we are not there. But we have a mission in Packsize that is driving us in everything we do. Smart packaging for a healthy planet. We need to take care of our resources, what we have, what is given to us. We need to make it sustainable. That is key in everything we do. We try to watch it and make sure that is the case. So we're trying to make a perfect fitting box, that everything we ship should be as lean and efficient as possible. What is then a perfect fitting box? There is a lot of stuff, but avoid muda, avoid air in boxes. We want it to be smart. It should be an intelligent way to handle packaging. And connectivity, we all look at connectivity. There is a lot of fancy things out in Industrial 4.0. But if we think about this, what are we connected to already today? Through our watches, through our smartphones and so on. It's about knowing what is going on, knowing what is happening out there, knowing what our machineries are doing, what our people are doing, what our performance are. So we need to stay connected, to be close to the world, make sure also we know what are the machines doing out there. We place a lot of technology and we think it's just working forever and there is no problem. No, it comes more complexity also. We need to make sure we get these figures back from them. We need to see speed, temperatures, others in it. There is a lot of information we can pull from our machines because in the end it's about to be reliable. We need to have uptime, being predictable, and know that we are in operation. We take a lot of burden on our shoulders when we place machineries out there. We're thinking about, okay, quality, speed, all of this is something, but at the same time we're trying to drive costs down. How can we do that? It is to make sure we use a minimal amount of time and material into this, that we are efficient when we deliver it out to our customers. If we should continue growing like we do today in e-commerce, we see that the number of parcels being shipped out there, the pickup units, where we have to pick up our points, we have locker rooms everywhere that we need to fit our stuff into. The more efficient we can use that, the more possibilities we have to grow our business, all of us. And that is interesting. So making the box as small as we can with a minimum of filler material. We see often that we put too much stuff into boxes. Plastic, that is a big topic in the market today. I used to say to customers when I meet them, at least stick to one kind of material if you can. So either you go fiber-based and you take that, or you go more sort of plastic, but at least try for the sake of the people taking care of the waste we are producing. How can we make sure we not send too much material out there? In Tokyo, for example, you need to sort your waste in 42 different ways. 42 different ways, because you can imagine into big cities, and Lisbon is one example, I think there is 5 million people or something, how much material that is going back and forth, and we need to take the waste out and get rid of it. So this is high. And here we can see some examples. Before, we have a couple of test centers. So we receive from the customers, there comes the packaging with how they do it today. We repack it over our machines, and we see what is the result. So the result here is often very, very high when it comes to saving of material, the parcel size, the filler material, and with that comes a reduction of the impact we are doing on Mother Earth. So being neutral, taking care of that is very important. We drive hybrid and electrical cars. We are in solar energy. That is something that is key for us because we think that otherwise there is no planet left going forward. So we're talking about all of this, get more products out there. We need to be leaner and meaner and get the stuff out there. Connectivity to the world, we see the brain. So I would just refresh our memory so we're not sitting and go down. Let's see if we can get the video to work a little bit here. The new way of thinking about packaging. So smart packaging for a healthy planet. You will hear me say that one more time. And this is important because if we have movements in a box, if things are moving around or hitting each other, that is a force that is very hard to control. So you get quality also out of getting a tighter box, better fitting the products inside. So try to stay close with it. Give a pleasant experience for the customers when they receive the box. Everything is not about the design or the message inside, printed on the inside and so on. There is other stuff. What does the younger generation see? And they are quick to change. If we look at the millennials today, they're changing behavior, suppliers, ways of purchasing, very more quick than we have ever seen before. So we need to be careful with that and make sure there is a satisfied customer in the other end. And that is to show that we don't waste resources. We're trying to build all of this with intelligence. We have a platform called PackNet. That is the software. That is where the intelligence lies, that communicates upstream, downstream, inbound, outbound. We can communicate with other systems. We can plug and play different solutions to it. So we are not fixed to build cells within your warehouses and so on. We can go on and plug and play and change equipment. A machine is just a tool for performing that what you want it to do today. And that is for sure something different tomorrow. And we are always in that intelligence. But that doesn't mean you change anything in the setup of how the machines are communicating. That is still the same because that has been one of the challenges in the past. We've all been on DOS and went into Windows 95 and whatever. Upgrading, they promised we don't need to reboot a computer any longer, but we still do. That is something we just learned to live with. But if we minimize this effort for us, that will help us all to be smarter and wiser in customizing packaging solutions. One of these things we are doing is also going more and more automation. It's hard to find people, finding staff that can help us. So we are going automation, and we will be on the reliable, making sure there is a machine out there can do 1,200 boxes an hour, fully automated, glued, labeled, ready to be shipped without any manual work. And also that there is no hiccups down the way that we cannot foresee. They are built modular. We can take stuff out quickly. If a knife breaks down or something, we take it out, place another one, and we're up running a minute later. So make everything of this lean. We can just look at one of the machines here, how that could look like when running what we call an X7. Here we see how we feed different kind of products in. It could be multiple, as long as they're not rolling, so they can move. We have them in control. They go through a 3D scanner into the machine and being packed. And here we have minimized all of these risks of any interference in the process. Made sure we built something that really making 1,200 boxes an hour. We can connect them so we can from one line feed twice, one left, one right. That means we have different corrugated widths. We have different capabilities of those machines to be smaller or larger products in this. It's all about making an impact as small as possible to our environment. Being sustainable, making sure that we can use our infrastructure, roads, pickup points, conveyors, warehousing, everything as good as possible, and not consume material that is not needed. We should take care about what we have here. There is a good friend of mine from IKEA, Alan Dickner, who gave me this one. It's still a lot of things there ahead of us. We need to look what other material, other possibilities, to be open for solution and continue developing, continue question status quo, and be there in front. So what we do with our customers, stay extremely close to them, build a partnership long term to make sure we right size everything we ship out from where we are located. So with that, I open up.
Last slide. Keep the last slide in. Yeah. Move back. No.
Where is the connection? Can I move back somewhere? No, I messed it up. Sorry for that.
That's fine.
Maybe our technology guys over there can help us out.
No, thanks, Martin, on getting a clear picture on what Packsize is a little bit about. Obviously, it's a little bit of a sales pitch, but at the end of the day, we're suffering from all the same type of challenges there. How to optimize, your packaging and still try to be sustainable. It almost looks like a very difficult thing to marry those both interests. How would you see that?
It's a thin line. It's a balance. Yeah, we do have an impact in everything we do. There is an impact, so we need to be careful and try to minimize it. That is, but yeah, for sure, we're driving trucks around. We are moving things. So yeah, we need to be careful about that. That's also when sourcing material. Everything we try to think about it, and there is no easy and quick fixes. That's the truth.
So, when you use this quote, is IKEA, is that a client of yours at the moment? Or?
Yes, we supply them with solutions for e-commerce business, not from products sort of going to the stores, but when they ship them out to e-commerce business, there we are in.
Yeah. So, how would others? I see a couple of people on the retailer and the brands working on your e-commerce strategies. How important is packaging? Is there specifics that you would like to share on this one at the moment? Is it a high theme? Racket, Bankse, RB? No. It's a challenge, right? How do you deal with that? Is there a certain balance that you can strike? Because you have also products that are sort of can be contagious or whatever. Yeah? Is there specifics you would like to share on this one? Packaging? Yeah? Like to share something? Yeah?
I think it's all about the cost management as well, because all this SIOC packing and so on that we are trying to do, to have this end-to-end mindset of having a pack ready for e-commerce from the supplier standpoint. It's how to make it profitable. And right now we're struggling because ultimately all the e-retailer will push the problem to the vendor, so us. But in the same time, they will not share the saving. So my challenge right now, I mean the team challenge on e-commerce is we are very keen to move forward e-commerce packaging, but how we make the financial balance with the e-retailer.
Oh.
And right now it's still we have not solved 100% this question.
It is also because you're transitioning from the bulk model more
Yeah.
to the individual, right?
Yeah, and also we're trying to bring towards e-com portfolio as well.
Yeah.
But it's just about the P&L basically, how we make it happen.
Great. No, sort of, for some of you know me as also the managing director for Startup Bootcamp. So we help a lot of corporates in their innovation strategies. And RB is one of our clients in this space as well. Any further comments? Oh, no, any questions already on Packsize on the presentation? Yeah.
Thank you.
Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Can, working in the biggest footwear retailer in Turkey. And when I see the presentation, I saw that only 1 unit are being packed. So do you have any other solutions for 2, 3, or 4 units?
Yes, there is 2 ways of looking at packaging. For multi-order, when you have more order lines and more complex, it's much harder to pack it in this what we call a late decision, where we go through a scanner, we can then pack it automatically. That fits for a certain range. But if you have multi-orders, as we call them, that's often better to make the box in advance and place the box on a conveyor, on a cart or something, and pick directly into the box. And that is where we use PackNet, and then there is a module called cubing. So we are making, based on the article data, what is the order consisting of, and then we are calculating the box, taking also into consideration what is it better to make a lower box but wider or longer and higher and so on, from transportation, how it's handled and so on. So we set that up in the parametrics. But then when it comes to multi-orders, it's better to pick into a box where you have them under control.
Maybe it's a little bit specific. If it goes too specific, I have to intervene because it might be super interesting to you, but I have also to take care of the rest of the audience, if you don't mind. And there's a unique opportunity because there are only 1 block down. So you walk out and you have a very interesting discussion with Packsize, and you can get carried away on all of your individual needs, right? So further things about Packsize sustainability strategies. Who's suffering on sustainability strategies when they have to explain packaging in this one? Not really? Good. Yeah? You have to catch this and talk into the black part.
Okay, thank you. I'm managing the largest fashion e-commerce in Latin America, and I'm hearing a lot of people saying, yeah, we want to be, green and environmental friendly. And then after, when you look at the cost of the raw material of the carton wrapping versus plastic wrap, you would have a ratio of 1 to 5. And then after, if you have to, or at least in Latin America, and from what I'm hearing in Europe or US, more or less the same. And then after, if you look at the transportation cost, it would be also, bigger volume and so higher with carton box. And so when I'm discussing with some people, they say, yeah, it makes sense. But when they see the cost on a full year, impact in the P&L, they don't take the decision. And if you could share the trend that you're seeing from e-commerce player in Europe.
Is your question about sort of, how you can better model this, the business model decision to do different type of packaging? Or?
No, it's like when you see the cost impact on the P&L, are people going forward or are they still resistant? Because for me, the impact is quite high.
Yep, material-wise, that is a challenge for all of us. Transportation, as you mentioned, is also one big part. We should not transport the material from too far distance. What we even are doing, we are always looking at the corrugated construction itself. So we minimize the number of air in that, what we call the fluting. So rather go for what we call EE or EB fluting or something when you need. And then in the construction of the box, because that's the beauty, when you make the box on demand, you can put extra protection where it's needed and not on the big overlayers and where it's no good use, more than maybe dust and some small protection. So rather go with a thinner flute and make it in the box design, especially when you go on larger products and boxes and so on. That's one way of dealing with it, because a lot of corrugated transportation is way too much air already in the material that goes from the plant out. So it's a very good point, thanks.
But I think there's multiple aspects also in this one, right? If you have a satisfied client with the right packaging, without having too much void or air or whatever, you have a more loyal client, and they have a repeat purchase, so that really impacts your top line. And you're now also addressing it in your cost levels. At the end of the day, it's also a balance between marketing, how much you would like to spend, and how much on your newly acquired clients. For sure, if you mess up on the packaging, damaged, too much air, whatever, you got a negative score in there on whatever fora on your business, right? So, and that is probably on a strategic level super important to recognize as well. The impact that it has if you do the wrong packaging into your business.
Yeah.
Right?
And what does the damage cost? Some products you can replace easily. You can send again, but there is a cost. But in some products, especially custom-made, stuff like that, there is a very high cost if there is a damage. That takes a long time to get something done that could replace it. So it's no easy answers to say this is the rule. We need to look at every case from. So.
Okay. So again, did we answer sort of your question? Yeah. And otherwise we can follow up on that one later. What I would like to do now is, you can keep it and throw it to somebody later on. Yeah. I'm not sure how well you're good in throwing, but we see that later on. Right. So what we try to do now is get a little bit of an engagement, because we get a couple of nice questions that we do on Slido. So the ones who are not familiar yet with this one, this is my super sophisticated cheat sheet. Go to slido.com, #deliver. Please do. And help yourself as well a little bit, because you learn also from your peers on what type of answers they will have to our questions. The questions we run through pretty quickly. I love your comments, your feedback, your further clarification on those. So Roman, are we ready for the first question? So on a scale of 1 to 10, rate your customer's unboxing experience, which is a little bit of a marketing gig that somebody invented, of your products. So how are your clients perceiving, from your perspective at the moment, the unboxing experience? So they get a box, they get the product shipped. How happy are they? Is how well it's helping their business moving forward? Could you give us a number? Yeah, and then we just run it, and we see the scores. It looks like that most of you, looking at the numbers on a score from 1 to 10, nobody has really on the low end, they feel that they're doing an okay job. But what we do see, there's nobody really in the 8, 9, 10s, right? There's only a small percentage on this one. So maybe you can tell it's averaging around the 6, right?
Yeah, it varies quite rapidly, yeah. But
yeah,
6
quite a few
seems
people
to be quite a safe number there. Huh?
Quite a few people, like myself, passed in school with a 6, right? So it's good enough, but it doesn't stand out from competition, right? So what is lacking? Could anybody like to comment? Where do you feel it can be improved in your supply chain? Who answered around 6? Who answered lower than 6? Who answered lower than 6? Like to comment? Yeah, Levi's. Yes, we have to. Oh, we have to do. You have to do the South American throw through the Czech.
Where is it?
Yeah, there in the corner. Yeah. Well done.
Cool.
Nice catch.
I just wanted to say I was voting less than 6 because I believe.
Can you speak up?
Okay. Because I believe our customers are expecting from Levi's something more sustainable, also better looking packaging, and today we are definitely not there.
Yeah.
So that's why I believe that their experience is not great.
Okay.
Yep.
Good. So, anybody else like to comment? Who did have a 10? Yeah, they just left the room probably, right? They have a secret that we all like to know, right? I would like to know. No? Okay. Anyway, so let's move to the next question. One of the ways that sort of packaging can help you with is also making sure that you're optimizing your warehouse space. Correct, Martin?
Correct,
Yeah?
yes.
Yeah. So maybe you can explain this question a little bit further to the audience.
If you think about having a perfect fitting box, it's very hard if you buy pre-made boxes for a high variety of different sizes. That means you need to buy them, you need to store them, you need to receive them, you need to find them when you need them, and you need to identify. And there is some guys seeing this problem here, I guess. So this is a challenge where we can, through fewer SKUs, when I'm talking about the material SKUs, I can then feed a machine and make whatever box you need in the other end. That makes it much leaner, and you free up a lot of space in your warehouse.
And to what percentage are we talking about? Is it 1, 2, 5%, or is it much more?
It depends very much from customer to customer. But in average, I would dare to say it's kind of a 60% that I will reduce what you have today in pre-made boxes stored. You often have duplicates. You need to go and do the inventory, and you need to reorder. It's depending from business to business, but you need to go and reorder because there is not enough, or you need to count up how many you need and move them out to a packing table or whatever. And this is a big process for many companies. It takes a lot of time, a lot of movements. It means uses of trucks. It means people getting occupied. And often when people are moving, they talk about football and whatever they do when moving. So it's a lot of muda embedded.
Yeah. And is this 60% of savings in the cost or in the space?
In the space. Now we're talking about space.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Maybe you can show the answers, Roman. It's kind of nice. It's a nice spread in a way, and there's quite a few people face absolutely limited warehouse space as well at the moment. So there's quite a large group where you can sort of further address some of the opportunities. When I talk to you guys, you're talking more about solution design as well with your clients than just putting the machinery in. So that's also an interesting part. All right, let's move to the next question, Robin. What is the number one pain point in your packaging process? And don't try to avoid immediately cost, which is an obvious one, right? To a certain extent. But if that's speed, labor, box, or the shipment quality, how would that sort of add up in your daily lives? So in there to see what is the biggest driving factor. Maybe you can answer. Just get your gut feel. You know, there's no good or bad answers in this one. We just would like to get your views on what is most important at the moment in this domain. Yeah, Roman, we're ready to roll. So that gets.
How much
Have
did
sort
you
of-
influence them on this?
No, but it's
No?
this is partly driving from, so speed is of the essence if you want to be in e-com, right? And you cannot no longer afford not to be higher on speed, I guess.
Mm.
Anyone like to comment? Would like to say something on this one? What is the most important? Why? And can you tell your company as well?
Sensilabs from Slovenia. It's not the problem with boxes that we are talking about. It's more about the whole process that we do at the moment.
What type of business are you? What type of
Food supplements.
Food supplements.
Yeah, we ship on 25 countries in Europe. Boxes are really good at me. We produce our own products, and we manage to do the production boxes fit into the boxes that we ship out, so that the lost air isn't there. So for me, it's more.
How much does it impact your margin? Because you're probably in a high margin business.
We have good prices.
No, but did you make any sort of assessment on that one? Why are you doing it like you currently do?
Yeah, because of the cost and everything that we managed to reduce the boxes. The boxes are cheaper now. They aren't anymore with brand, because all the brands disappear when you label it, because on the end there are when you put a label that's bigger than the box, and that's no efficiency if you brand the box. And it's all about speed. How fast can somebody print out the invoice, then the packet, and just close out the box? And that's everything. It's about e-commerce. How fast you can ship out the.
In your situation, you do a lot of cross-border international shipments.
Yeah.
Is there a real benefit with the shipping? Is there a direct correlation with the shipping cost if you do optimization of the box size?
Yeah.
How much? Tell us. Just give us a ballpark number.
Let's calculate it around 20%.
20%.
Yeah.
If you do 20% cost saving on the shipping cost, international shipments for your product, right? When you do better packaging strategy. Stop that. Who doesn't want to save 20% on the shipping cost? Okay. No. Interesting. All right. You want to like to comment, Martin, on this
No,
one?
I think it's very well covered. And this is also, when you look at this, to see how can we be fast and be the right deadlines. There is always a deadline for every shipment, different destinations and so on. When you can, by information, by knowing what's happening, prioritize the right orders with a closer deadline than the others, that is also a very important thing to be managing the growth that we all see in e-commerce. So speed.
Be smarter than your competition is probably never a bad strategy, right? Okay, good. Next question, Robin. We're now at number 3. Can you move number 4? We're getting there. Patience is also important, especially in this business. There we go. Interesting question. So we move actually to a different type of parameter in your cost levels. On a scale from 1 to 10, how difficult is it to find the right staff for your packaging operations? So this is actually your shipping out operations, right? So you had your order, you need to pick, pack, ship. This is what we're talking about, right? Okay. So how difficult is it to find the right staff for people that are really interested in doing this? And if you don't have it yourself, what does your supplier tell you in this space? So try to give it a number, because it's impacting your total business, right? Okay, let's roll. It's a nice even spread. So how difficult is to find the right staff? And people would judge it difficult when it's high. Am I correct? It's easy, then it's 1.
Yep.
That's a little bit ambiguous in this type of question. So, maybe anybody would like to comment who operates their own warehouse operations in this space? Nestle?
Well, we use third parties.
Yeah.
And
Can you throw the thing behind you? Yeah. Right. Yeah, go ahead.
and it's more about find the right packaging that will enable operations to be more effective. So when we talk about productivity in the 3PL, and also they try to have standardized packaging among different customers they have, so they can switch stuff, and the stuff is productive from the beginning.
Yeah, so they can have when it's a multi-user warehouse, then they make sure that that's going to operate, right? Anybody like to comment on this one? On where there's options? Did you face that yourself, where you run also part of your own operations? Did you feel that you can optimize that, the recruiting? Martin, would you like to comment? Can you give an example of a client?
I can share one thing I think would make sense there is to train and maintain your staff, that you often have a high sort of run rate on them. You need to train them, you need to educate them in different things. So the better we can set up a process where the software and the process and the flow takes care of it, the better it is, because then it's quicker to train them, get them up running, being operational to a certain level. Because if you're used to it, you have a certain sort of skill set in that, you're used to deal with it, then you are much better to shorten the training and the interest. That is very important in this. So build a good process. That helps a lot.
So in that one, your employee satisfaction for the people in the warehouse, once you have helped them with further automation, is good for the employee satisfaction in a way as well.
Yes, we often get this response that this have lowered the stress level, have made it less complicated for them. So they feel there is less stress level, but they have still a higher output. So that is often a reaction that we see on this one. So that is quite pleasing also from the employee point of view.
And there's one element also probably from the session this morning with PwC. One of the things that driving the customer experience, you can only have high customer satisfaction scores when your employee satisfaction is high, right? It sounds super logic, but sometimes you tend to forget. So if you don't invest in automation or optimization of the work processes of your staff, it also impacts your total business at the end of the day. So this is also probably what is this question saying. Yes. Can you state which company you're from?
Yes. My name is Nedim and I come from Mondi. I'm responsible for the e-commerce part of the Mondi corrugated business. And what I can share here is that now for the last year, I've been visiting a lot of warehouses, a lot of customers, and in certain markets, this has become a priority number one or a challenge number one, finding, training and retaining labor force.
And how would that impact your business from your perspective? What is happening to your gross sales or whatever? Yeah.
For us, it's really putting together packaging or creating packaging that is as easy to assemble, as fast to assemble, and it's really up to our customers to have the labor force to do it.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. All right. Next question, Roman. So you see it in the app. When considering a change to your packaging operations, identify your two top goals, choosing two of the following. So this is a little bit more complex question because you need to pick two answers, right? So change to your packaging operations, more sustainable, cost reduction, more throughput or productivity, the quality of the shipments, or the image improvement, because obviously packaging is impacting your image, with the unboxing experience, I guess. This is also super important, The color, the pack, how does it look like? How well designed is it, right? So try to answer two in this one. That would be really great. Strategizing a little bit more, and the last couple of questions will be also a little bit more future outlook. So, okay, let's roll Roman on those questions. What are the answers? So what are the top scorers? So people look very much still. Surprise? You look?
A little bit,
yeah. Yeah? Why is that?
Just here at the event, but overall the sustainability and image customer satisfaction is, in my view, rising rapidly. The top one is always there, but sustainability and image improvement, customer satisfaction is, in my view, going higher and higher.
Yeah. It's interesting. I would have guessed as well, because then if you really correlate it with some of the values that you have in your strategy, image improvement, if your design can help there. Sustainability is a big theme, right, for most of you. Yeah. You cannot sometimes it's a hygiene factor, but really now is, if you're not sustainable with your packaging, you're almost out of business, right, nowadays. So it is interesting. But still a lot of people are looking for the cost improvements and productivity. Like to comment, Martin?
No, and cost throughput, productivity, and that's probably measuring also a little bit when using 3PLs, the KPIs might differ between if I deal with my packaging myself or I go over a 3PL. There is different KPIs and there is productivity because that's how they get paid. So I can see that there might be some of those reasons there. And cost, productivity, throughput is important. We need to get stuff out there. And sometimes I question myself, is it realistic that we ship within 2 hours? Is it sort of what delivery times do we need? Imagine if we can let customer handle that a little bit more when placing the order. When do I need it? Because sometimes, look at us, we are traveling the whole week. Do we really need, if we order something on a Sunday at home, that it's delivered on Monday when we're not home anyway? So you could question yourself, if I could select that a little bit more in my purchasing strategy, maybe with different costs for freights and so on, I could balance out some of the peaks. But yeah, that's just some ideas how that could work.
But is this something, so you're mentioning the word 3PL, and many of the retailers and the brands obviously work with 3PLs or third-party suppliers, whatever shape or form, for their logistics. Is there any tips that you have to push some of the other values as well?
Make sure set up the right KPIs that are linked to what your goals are, that you have those linked to your 3PLs. So they work, because it's like having employees to have different goals and make it confusing for them where to go. If your company goal is one and they have a different one, it will be a bit messy. So that would really think through the KPIs you put to your 3PLs.
So productivity, everybody has to deliver, and then sustainability or those type of things, you really have to clarify what they're doing in order to make that happen.
I can just give you one example. If I'm unexperienced, I'm coming in, I'm thrown into something, I take this easily erected box from Monday, I open it, I throw stuff in. I always select the larger box because then I know it fits in. I don't care about the quality so much, I want out. So I don't cut it down, I maybe don't even fill it. If I fill it way too much and shove it out. So these are really how we misuse our sort of paper or resources as such way too hard. And that is coming not by anyone being arrogant or anything, it's just that we haven't a process and a flow and a structure for it. So.
Thanks. Next question.
Sorry,
Roman?
just a comment. That box was from Kappa, not Monday.
So, another qualifying question. Would an optimization of packaging process enable your growth strategy? So purely about growth. So how can it advance your growth on the top line? So not at all, or absolutely, right? So if you're really convinced that a better packaging strategy would help to move your business forward and multiplying the impact, do you consider that a serious factor, or are there more important factors? So in that case, you score it low, right? So let's roll, Roman. Let's see what we have. Oh, you did a bit of education, Martin. So yeah, it's sort of people buy into it. You know, there's also anybody like to comment on their score? So packaging strategy. How can it help your growth? Anybody like to comment? Whether you see sort of, hey, this is a way that it can help in my business to grow the e-com business. Anybody like to comment? Mondi, you still have the box, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How can it help? How could it help your business to grow?
From our perspective, it's really simple. You have on one end that you can really cut costs in the way that we already described, and then on the other hand, you have an opportunity to really stand out. And it's right now when you look at the unboxing experience or branding, it's the fact that in many cases that box and that packaging is the first contact that you have. And I think that now more and more, if you're reading the research and how consumers think about it, it does make an impact on your top line. So very important.
So it's always good to focus on top-line growth in your business, the meaning, i.e., either get more in the price, which is always hard, so then it's better move to better quantities, right? And this is a way to get it. And as you rightfully say, so that it's the first experience. One of the single drivers effectively as well for the customer set. Knowing that they're remote, obviously it's in the transaction and the payment and that type of activity, so in the total transaction advancing on this one. And then there's also obviously the returns experience. So also if you have packaging that are sort of friendly in order to have that returns, including the labeling, etc. And there will be a nice workshop tomorrow about returns management. But we also learn about sort of those drivers in this one. But I would say sort of it's an encouraging score, right? So that means that people really recognize that there's a value in the strategy to focus on packaging as well. Okay, last question, Roman. How would you design your packaging process in the future? So let's sort of dream up a little bit. Highest flexibility and individualization is a 10, or really see that fully automated? Is that what we?
Yeah,
what
because
we see?
when you automate, you are giving up some of the flexibility. You need to find what scope you're addressing and so on. So it takes a limitation a little bit because you're standardizing, you're going faster and automated. With totally flexibility, it's a little bit more manual, and you can pack a wedding ring or a bus, it doesn't matter. So what is the most important thing? I think that is a good question.
It's a little bit tricky question because you're asking somebody to make a choice that they don't want to make, right? In the strategy, I would like to be flexible and fully automated, right? Yeah? But you have to make a choice here. So try to give us a score. And ideally, if you'd like to comment a little bit, why is it more important to your business, right?
Mm.
Okay, Roman, let's show the numbers in this one. Right. So how do you read this, Martin? This is so you have to be a jack of all trades in order to service this group of people. Did you have a preference? Yeah.
Arnaud from Alinea. We make furniture and home decoration in France. So we have very complex products, from sofa to mattresses, forks. So it's quite complicated to have a high speed and limited range of product because we have such a variety of product that we would have to have a lot of processes for each type of product to automate.
What is your strategic differentiator at Alinea?
It's,
do you have a wider range of products?
no, it's rather style, on customer experience. So that's why I'm more on the left side because we need individualization, flexibility, but I also put like a 10 about productivity. I need productivity too.
You want it all.
Yeah. He's here. Okay.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Okay. So, sorry to put you. I don't want to, create.
No, but it's we agree. The other aspect of high speed with a limited range of product is that you are making more processes, more different processes, because if you have a limited range of product working one way, then another limited range of product working another way, you need to train people to understand all that. So the problem you're supposed to resolve with looking the right people is at the end more complex because you are splitting your processes in various things. So I think it's better to have a single, flexible process rather than an industrial one. But maybe there are other companies thinking different. I would appreciate it.
No, but I feel, it's a great example because also it exemplifies, in what type of business you're in, that also determines the choice. So if you want to work with a partner, they have to understand your dynamics in your business to be successful, right? And
And also a
Martin,
little
would you
bit
like to
with volumes, you could say. If you're starting at one department or one sort of product range within your sort of complex, when you can streamline that because the volume starts to be that high, then that is one thing you can do. So it's a mix, and that is why it makes it, you need to do the diagnosing, you need to deep dive and understand what is going on there in order to recommend what is the right. And that is also why I'm saying it will change, because there is not one solution fits all.
So this was our last question. 7 out of 7. So we've done well, really well in time. Anybody would like to have some final comments or questions or experience to share in your business on the packaging? Yes? You know how it works? Shout, shout in the box.
Yeah, so I'm Marina, I'm from Unilever, and on this question I find it really interesting because I'm more towards the 1, 2, and 3, because when we look at e-commerce especially, we are looking at people that are looking for something specific and something a bit more targeted to them, so I find difficult to go to the 9, 10 on this world. That's very different from the normal retailer world that we are, and as was said before, we would like to have both, so it's worrying that we have a scale where one is the opposite of the other, and how do we find somewhere in between, especially on e-commerce, that although we think that some things are going to go to the full scale, we're going to always have new things for new people that are quite niche and start small and then go big.
Yeah. Great. Now, and I think it also tells us exactly also where Unilever or Nestle or Reckitt, banks, RB are as well. If you want to go to the direct to consumer, you want to be successful, you have to let go of some of your old values as well. Coincidentally, we work for all of you in my domain, in the innovation strategies. But we see that everybody is sort of looking for new KPIs, or if you're in the transformation as a business, right? The direct to consumer, mass customization. You need to be able to get every bottle of shampoo a different label. It has to have my shampoo label has to be Ernst. This is your type of thing, and you're not there yet at Unilever, but at the end of the day, there's something also that you probably want. And it still has to be sustainable and customizable and easy to get to, etc., etc. So it's super challenging where you are as a brand as well, and how you would like to position yourself. And you're somewhere in that supply chain, so this is a tough job, I can imagine, right? So great comment. Martin, any closing comments from you?
No, I think it's very valuable, and I want to thank you all take the time and effort to take this, because this is something that we battle with every day, and it's somewhat, you could almost say it's different religions. There is nothing right and wrong. You need to sort of find out what is right for me and my company and my values and so on, and build it from that. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
So my closing, what were my takeaways on the learnings? Obviously, packaging drives customer set, right? So the better you address it, the more repeat customers you may have, right? We learn about sort of, hey, if you really optimize it, it's also there in your direct cost and your out-of-pocket cost on your shipping. Can be 20%, but some people might have more or less, right? Sort of, we talked about the warehousing optimizations. So there's a couple of things that you can take away from that one. I didn't realize how much space and therefore money you can create with or free up by optimizing their processes. And I think we also addressed the item of optimizing that also for the training, right? So if you further automate, this might be also be considered as a gift by your employees to optimize those type of processes. Whether these guys can fill all of this in the solution, probably not, because they don't have the magic wand or the crystal ball or whatever type of Harry Potter stuff that you may have in the cupboard still. But I think there is obviously a way that they can help you in thinking about solutions, right? Their stand is 2 blocks down. So if you want to learn more about Packsize and how that can optimize your business, let them know. That are my almost last words. Don't forget to vote for the awards if you have the opportunity, because it's also good that we recognize as an industry what are the runners-up and what are the best performers in this part. There's a great workshop coming up, led by my big friend John Acton. What is it going to be, John? Bring. Tech business, all about last mile innovation, There's no, there's no advertising whatsoever on this. And don't forget to join on the drinks and barbecues and reception tonight. Looking forward. Have a nice
Thank you
day.
very much. Thank you.